All right, we're back with another episode of the Unger Games. We're so back. And I love doing these episodes where I get to just come right back from the movie theater and jump on the mic and record some shit. And that's what we're doing. And I love the energy coming out of the movie theater. I think, like, I said this before in other episodes, like, I think it's just sweet to be able to have the movie theater experience. I think the movie theater going experience is just like something that doesn't get rivaled by like watching at home or whatever. Like I was lucky enough growing up, like I knew some people that had some money and like, you know, they had like home theaters and like laser discs and like, you know, surround sounds and like recliners. Yes, I said laser discs. And that shit's still not as cool. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's got its time and its place and like you want to like chill at home and you want to do that shit. Like that's great. But like there's nothing like going to the movie theater, especially on like Thursday night, opening night. It's fun as hell. And like the people like want to watch stuff like that are at these movies that are like into this stuff and like it's cool. It's fun. You're a part of something. It's like a social event. I like social events. They're fun, especially when everybody just shuts the hell up and watches the movie for the most part, unless somebody's phone goes off when the movie starts and you're like, shit, which all happened. But it's Thursday night right now. I'm going to put this out hopefully tonight. And I just saw Mortal Kombat 2. And I've been waiting a bit for Mortal Kombat 2. I think they also pushed this movie back from like October of 25 to May of 26. I don't know what they thought they were doing because I think May has a lot of competition in the action adventure space with a Star Wars movie coming out in 2 weeks. So not sure that was a great idea. Don't really know if this movie is going to make enough money to make a third movie. That's my honest opinion. And somebody told me like, hey, why don't you just start with the goods? All right, let's start with the goods. Was the movie really, really, really good? No. Like, but it was a B. It was like a solid B. Like it wasn't like a B plus. And like maybe it was on the fringe of like a B minus. And I'm giving it a little too much credit because I have a soft spot in my heart for Mortal Kombat. And I called one of my buddies, my friend Roger, and I called him after the movie and I'm like, hey, because he told me, he's like, hey, call me when you're done. Tell me how it is. And he's like, hey, was like this actor good in it? And I'm like, bro, that guy's in Street Fighter. That's not out yet. And he's like, well, was this guy good in it? And I was like, that guy's in Street Fighter. That's also not out yet. And I am looking forward to Street Fighter, but like both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat had their 90s movie versions. Street Fighter was ridiculous and Mortal Kombat was ridiculous. And the thing that I remember most from both of them combined is that the theme song from Mortal Kombat, I believe the first one came out in 1995, was so fucking cool. I mean, so cool. There was a day earlier this week, like it might have been yesterday, like absolutely was yesterday, let's call it what it is, where I found the song on Apple Music and I was like, I love this song. It's so good. It got me like super pumped up. So then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again. And after like a certain point, I think I was at like 16 or 17 times. And I like told somebody, I was like, I think I've just listened to that song like 17 times. I listened to it again. Got to like 20 plus times of like listening to the Mortal Kombat like mid 90s theme song. It pumps me up. So I was like super pumped up to see this movie. I love me some Carl Urban. He's been great even since before The Boys. Like if you've never seen the action movie, I've already talked about this on a different episode too. If you've never seen the action movie Dredd, the like follow-up sequel-ish to Judge Dredd with Carl Urban and Lena Headey. It's so good. It's like such a great underrated like R-rated action flick. I think it came out like 2012-ish. But Carl Urban plays Johnny Cage, and they've been marketing this movie for way too long because they pushed the movie back. And this beast of a human being named Martin Ford plays Shao Kahn, and Shao Kahn is an awesome like in-game and on-screen villain, like super cool. I'm gonna butcher some of these names. So like one thing that's amazing to me, the 2021 Mortal Kombat reboot and then this Mortal Kombat 2, they did like so much with like, for the most part, not the biggest names of a cast. Like Carl Urban led the cast, obviously. And then there's like a couple other, you know, big names like Hiroki Sanada from Shogun is Scorpion, and he revives his role in this. And he was in the original. And like Louis Tan is in this, and I think Louis Tan is a great actor. Also, I think Louis Tan is a fun follow on social media. Just shout out to Louis Tan. I think you're a highly entertaining dude. I totally forgot that Josh Lawson is in this, who was in one of my favorite shows for a while called House of Lies, not House of Cards, but House of Lies on Showtime. It was great. And Josh Lawson is hilarious, and he plays Kano. And so there's not a lot of like big household names in this. So one thing like you got to give it a lot of credit for is they did a lot with a little as far as like the casting and stuff. Like they were able to pull off not one but two Mortal Kombat movies with like a bunch of actors and actresses that like for the most part aren't like big A-list names. And like you don't need big A-list names to make movies. So like I think that's more credit to like what they did here as far as making these movies is like they got some like marketable names like Carl Urban and like some like really cool looking people like for the marketing like Martin Ford, but like you don't need big names to make a big movie. Like that is I think that should be one of the first lessons you teach like directors and casting directors is like a great movie or a big movie or an entertaining blockbuster does not need like big name actor. Does it help to market it when you have a guy like Carl Urban? Certainly. Is The Boys like currently airing right now? I'm pretty sure it's final season. Maybe like part of the reason they pushed it back was the popularity of Carl Urban. I don't know. I don't know if Carl Urban's like that popular, but I do love me some Carl Urban, and I just don't know if like they would push a movie back to help with the marketing. But it seems like part of the reason they did was to help with the marketing, because October is a rough time to release a movie, and May is not as rough because you're entering like the summer patch of film releases, if you will. So like, let's talk about the movie. Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 completely failed me in one major regard. And I was just talking about it. That goddamn song, right? Like, I remember when I saw the first reboot in 2021 and I like walked away from watching it. I might have watched it at home because it was when like HBO was doing like at home and theater releases at the same time, like post-COVID world. What a wacky time to be alive. And I stood up and I was like, did they not play the song, like the song, the song, like once in the whole movie? And somebody was like, well, they played it during the end credits. Okay, like, so who get like that's not the movie. Like, so in the second one, I'm waiting for the song, and 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 they do like a little sample, like right before like Johnny Cage, like dun 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 dun, and it's like, but then they get away from it. Like, no. Everybody that's watching this movie wants that song. Like, I'm telling you right now, like the biggest layup you had as the filmmakers for the first and second reboot of these Mortal Kombat movies, because there was a first one and a second one in the 90s. So I'm going to keep calling them the first and second reboot because there was a Mortal Kombat and then I believe it was called Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And they were both pretty like super cheese in their own rights, but like fun movies as a kid growing up. Like I loved watching both of them. And no matter how cheese and how bad they were, I loved them. But biggest layup that they missed, like the Lakers these days, just missing layups. Just kidding. They needed that song. Like they needed that song. Like for a song in a movie that you could play like over and over and over again on repeat, and the fan base like would only just love you even more. You played it once during the end credits. Like, and by the way, I read online just because I do this that there's not like an mid or post credit scene. So like, what reason do you have for like waiting till the end credits to play this song? Like the Mortal Kombat theme song is like iconic. It's like, I hate to say it because it's super cheese, but like it's legendary at this point. Like in the 90s, that song was badass, and it's 2026. And I just told you, I listened to it like 21 times the other day. It's still really badass. Like it's cool techno, like calling out the names like Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade. Like it's so cheese, and the voice that's like going over it is so cheese. Now there is one caveat I have to make, and I heard that like there might have been like rights issues to the song, like whoever owned it like might have not wanted the filmmakers to like fully use it, which I also call bullshit on that because like there's money involved with these productions, and like you can just figure out who to pay. Like I hate to say that, but like when it comes to film production, like who do you need to pay off for the rights to this? It's not going to be more than like other songs that have been used in movies. So like Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, like figure it out. Just figure it out and play my goddamn track. Seriously. So I see a lot of movies alone, and I was able to like meet up with a friend for this, which actually made it a lot more fun because it's a lot more like when you're with friends and you're with like an audience that's like really engaged into a movie. It's like a lot more oohs and ahs and holy shit and what the fuck, and is he going to bash his head in and like holy crap. They did a lot more fan service to game stuff in this. So like I think there were like, what I mean by that is I think there were like 2 or 3, air quotes, fatalities. One of my favorite parts of the movie was, without a doubt, there's like an early fight scene where Katana's fighting Johnny Cage, and like, spoiler alert, like no one dies in this fight. Oops, spoiler alert, gotcha. And like Johnny Cage is doing like he's like all like woozy and like wobbling, and he's doing like the wobble back and forth, and you kind of know what's coming if you've ever played the game. But like, let me tell you, if you've never played the game, like when you get your opponent down to like their last bit of health and you're about to kill them at the end of like the second round, like if you've won the first round and you're about to knock them out at the end of like 2 of 2 winning rounds, then they'll get woozy and like days like shake back and forth, and then you'll see like a graphic, I think, on screen, and then you'll hear this like ridiculous voice like, finish him. And like there's a great part of Mortal Kombat 2 where like Shao Kahn is like watching this fight from a distance, and he sees Katana like beat the crap out of Johnny Cage, and like Johnny Cage is just standing there doing the wobbling crap, and like you see him wobble for a bit, and then Shao Kahn just lets out like a nice big like, finish him. And I was just like dying. I was like, this is so good. So speaking of that and like other parts of the movie, like there were a lot of laughs for me, which made the movie pretty fun. Like I think like some of the gore levels didn't necessarily didn't like hit for me compared to the first reboot from 2021. Like and I think it was 2021. I could be wrong. Like, I don't know, make fun of me. But like I feel like the gore factor in the previous movie was a lot higher. And maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. Let me tell you, I probably won't rewatch it. I have like too much crap on my list to watch. But there was some really good gore in this, like some really good gore. And there was some like really predictable, like fun shit too. Like like when Jax is fighting, like at some point, like he's probably gonna get his arms ripped off. So like, well, he's probably gonna get his arms ripped off. I don't know. You have to see the movie to find out. Tell me, does he get his arms ripped off? For those of you who don't know, Jax is this character from the game who's also in the movie and been in the movies, where he's got like these giant metal robot arms that look absolutely ridiculous. It looks like he's just like in like the robot gym all day. And he's Sonya Blade's like military partner, friend, buddy, and they have like this good bond. And like, at some point, like that dude's getting his arms ripped off. So like, I don't know, see the movie, tell me if I'm right. Like, do you think his arms get ripped off? Maybe. Find out. Go see it. Also, like something I always talk about, like this is a very R-rated like action bloody movie. Like if you're not into like the games, the genre, the like over the top action stuff, like this movie's not for you. But this movie's for a lot of people because, first of all, the theater was packed on a Thursday night at 7:00, which is dope. I love seeing that for theater business. Like I'm gonna like always talk about how I want theater business to thrive, but also like you could tell there was a guy sitting to my right who like within the first 5 minutes or less of the movie starting, he was just like pumped up. He's like, oh yeah, like, and he was like quietly but commenting like out loud like what he was into and like what he wanted to see, and like that is cool. Like people resonate with this stuff. So like you might not be into these type of movies. I was joking with a handful of friends before I saw the movie. I was like, I'm going to go see the worst movie tonight. And they're like, what movie? And I was like, Mortal Kombat 2. And some people were like, oh yeah, that is the worst movie. And then other people were like, yeah, that's dope. Like it's Mortal Kombat, whatever. Which is more reason why I like then listen to the song like 400 more times. Cause I don't care about anybody's opinion on like if Mortal Kombat sucks. Like, first of all, from a movie critic filmmaking standpoint, like obviously Mortal Kombat is not going to like change any genre or film making styles or whatever. Like at most it's probably going to regress. Like they're going to go back to like pretty cookie cutter storylines. They're going to go back to like, stuff that doesn't make sense because you're watching a bunch of like people with like superpowers and stuff. And so like, it's a fun movie. It's fun movie genre, but it's a very specific movie genre of where like, you got to be into this crap to be into this crap, like I'm into it. I've always been into it, but like, I know it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Like if you're listening to this now and you're like, I would never see Mortal Kombat, that's fine. No judgment. Like I think Mortal Kombat's dope, and there's like movies I wouldn't see that probably a lot of you would see. And like, that's another reason why I think talking about movies and shows and like life and how these relate to people or don't relate to people is kind of fun. Cause like, it shows like what people are interested in spending their time on and like what entertains people and what doesn't. Like I think there's a giant sense of escapism with like Mortal Kombat where it's like just this whole other world. Like I just wanted to have an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes of like not thinking about real shit. And like Mortal Kombat as a movie really does that for you. Like you're not thinking about real shit. The movie's about like a tournament where like the nether realm and like these other realms that are made up are gonna take over Earth if the humans don't win the tournament. Like that's not a real story. Like that would never happen. But I mean it's cool. Like it's fun. Like I'm big on like the sci-fi fantasy adventure genres. I mean, as well as like I'm into dramas, I'm into romance, I'm into westerns, I'm into comedies, but like the sci-fi like fantasy adventure genre type films really help me like with the whole general escapism that I feel like movies should bring. Like you can watch a lot of dramas and you can watch a lot of like more realistic stuff and it'll feel like really sad or like really gut-wrenching, but like when these characters die in Mortal Kombat and they get their like face smashed in or a pole through their throat or whatever, you're kind of just like cheering for the gore, which is awesome. Like, do you want to always watch movies that are super serious? And like, if I'm asking this question to my father, by the way, my father would be like, absolutely. And I would probably laugh at him and be like, well, that's you, and I'm not you. But like, the friend that I saw that with, saw the movie with, like, she and I were like turning to each other, like oh shit, and like kind of like calling stuff that was gonna come up, and like the lore, and like kind of what's coming, but you don't always know what's coming, and like that's part of what makes it fun. So the movie ends up being about like it's kind of like a showcase for like two main characters in the Mortal Kombat world. It's really a Katana backstory. It starts off with like Katana stuff and then like Johnny Cage as like a character and his character evolution. The first movie, if I remember correctly, was a lot about Cole Young, who's in this. The characters in this movie, who I already mentioned, is played by the awesome and always entertaining Louis Tan. But the first movie also kind of centered around the history and backstory of the movie version of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Unfortunately, like the full version of Sub-Zero is really not in this version, in this Mortal Kombat 2, which is okay. Like, I mean, again, they're doing what they want. But I would have liked to see a little more like Sub-Zero or something related to Sub-Zero. I thought they did a cool job of like expanding on the characters in the universe in relation to like what Mortal Kombat 2 and the game Mortal Kombat 2 might mean, but I also think from like a cinematic universe standpoint, you could have expanded on the characters a little more. Like Mortal Kombat 3 as a game and as Mortal Kombat games have evolved, and I haven't played all of them, but I've dabbled in a lot of them. I think like there's a lot more characters that could have been explored, and like to at least tease some of them or do some other things about it would have been cool. Now look, there were like other cool characters that I haven't talked about yet. Like Jade is a character that is in Mortal Kombat, and Jade was really cool to see on screen. Like that's awesome. And you know, who else? Kung Lao makes another appearance, and Baraka has this really funny scene or two, and Baraka was a really fun character. So like they did some really fun stuff with the characters. Sindel is in it as a character, and so they did expand for sure on the character base. But I would have liked to see a little more. It felt like they played the character expansion a little safe. Was the movie shot well? Yeah, it was shot well. Was it a little cheese as far as like some of the VFX? Certainly, like some of the in camera and then the VFX didn't like really pair too hard. Like I think some of it kind of was like jarring because it was like super cheesy set design into like cool visual effects back to like super cheese set design. But I mean, there's a time and a place for all this stuff, and like I said, it's kind of like a cheese movie, like over the top with so much gore. So like that, I mean, that fits. Just I would have liked to see like a little better set design. Like you got a high budget movie, so like make it sing, if you will. The VFX were cool. I saw some reviews online before I watched the movie that people were like, "Oh, the visual effects were like so good." Like, yeah, I mean they were good, but like there were like two or three big fight scenes. Like there's a really good fight scene with Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Which was really cool, and the VFX in that were cool. And I think the best VFX in the movie were like the Liu Kang based stuff. I think like there's a scene where Liu Kang's fighting Shao Kahn, and he does this like crazy like fire dragon shit, and that's like probably the coolest visual effects shot in the whole movie. Um, you know, you're waiting throughout this movie for like something really big to happen, and where I feel like another place that kind of fell short is like it wasn't too big, but it did like all like meld and fit together pretty well. Like it felt like a very like coherent movie with like uh a reasonable enough storyline for the genre, and like a story that like pieced itself together as the movie went on. So I was into that. There's some like really ridiculous shit where they're just like bringing characters back from the dead with like basically like necromancer type characters. I wasn't like too keen on like where that came from, like within the world of Mortal Kombat or whatever, but it was there. It happened. Like that's how like Kano and Kung Lao kind of like come back. It was this whole like weird like kind of rushed like necromancer scene. Um, I talk with a lot of friends about this, and this is another like big positive for me from this movie is I think the movie was only like an hour 40, hour 45 tops. I think it was closer to hour 40. One thing I do now with movies in theaters and trailers being like, I don't know, longer than like every short film ever made. Um, the trailers are about 30 minutes now in theaters in Los Angeles. I don't know how it is across the cinema markets, but I would imagine it's similar in New York and probably maybe in all theaters. I don't know. I don't know what the ad buys are or whatever, but they know the audiences are big here, so they like pay for these big trailer spaces before movies and all these other ads now that show up. And so one thing I do is I try to clock the times. Like I'll look at what time it is on my phone, like right before the Nicole Kidman like AMC Coke ad that they refuse to change like stops playing, and then the movie starts. Like I'll check the time, and I think it was like 7:45 when it started. I'm pretty sure it was like 9:20, 9:21. So yeah, like an hour 35, maybe hour 35. That sounds right. But I like a nice tight like 90 to 100 110-minute movie. Like I don't need every movie to be 2 hours. Mortal Kombat 2 does not need to be 2 hours. So they knocked it out of the park with the runtime. Like I don't need the runtime to be like some shit show. Like you don't need to like it's not a contest. Like you don't need to like measure movies and like, well, mine was longer than your like there are other contests for that, and movies are not them. So like let's not do that. So thank you for that, Mortal Kombat 2, because you kept it nice and tight, and we love that. We like a nice tight 90, 95, 100 minutes. Like fans love that. Absolutely. Round of applause. Um, Carl Urban was very Carl Urban. Johnny Cage was kind of a weird, weak character to me. Wasn't thrilled with the character development. That part of the story was kind of like meh. But you needed it because it was like one of the roots of the story. But it was kind of like meh. But the katana stuff was cool. The katana VFX were really cool. I was into the katana VFX. Like the fans that she got like to fight with, she fights with these like metal bladed fans. Very into that. That was awesome. Proud of them for that. Trying to think like what other great redeeming qualities we had from this movie. Again, it was just like a B to a B minus. It wasn't like, it didn't blow my mind, but it was a lot of fun for a good hour and a half plus, which is always great. They did this funny Johnny Cage stuff where he was like an actor and like not a great karate guy like early on in the movie. That was cool and funny. I definitely laughed at a couple of those scenes. So those are Johnny Cage moments that were redeeming. But yeah, overall, Mortal Kombat 2, fun. Like fun fucking movie. Again, like I was saying earlier, do I think they're gonna make a third one? The cinema business is tough, right? Like the movie theater business is tough. And you need to make a grip of money off of something like a sequel to make a trilogy. Now, here's another place where I feel like they kind of like fell off a little bit, and they might even know that they're not making a third one. I couldn't really tell, but I kind of got the vibes that they like knew that they're not making a third one. But I could be wrong. Maybe like the vibes are like they already knew they were making a third one, and I'm just being dumb about it. And like, what do I know? I'm not a filmmaker, but usually you'll get like a nice like cliffhanger or like lead into like some other characters that are coming into the following movie at the end of these types of movies, something that's like fan service but also like story service, where it makes it really easy for the writers and producers to say, okay, well, we ended with so and so character showing up randomly at the end of the movie, let's kind of build off of that, and then we have like the beginning of our act one of our next story. They didn't do that here. They didn't really like tease much, and the only direction really like where they said they were going at the end of this movie is like, well, we're gonna go back and get our friends. And I think they mean like, some of the characters that don't make it in this movie. Like again, Kung Lao and a couple others. Like maybe they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just get these people back from like the Nether Realm, like Hell World, basically. And uh I wasn't thrilled with that because, like, from a writing standpoint, you don't really need to give me too much to give me enough there. But they didn't really give me enough there, so I'm feeling like unless this movie does like bonkers numbers at the box office, which I'm telling you by the way, like I'm not always right about this, but I'm like 90% right about this. This movie's gonna kind of be a flop. I feel like from a box office standpoint, because I don't know what the budget is off the top of my head, but when you push a movie back from October of the previous year to May of this year, your advertising spend goes through the roof. You've already hit an advertising budget to release in October of the previous year, and now you have to spend more money on this movie to just keep it afloat. And that's not a great thing from a studio perspective. Granted, they had their reasons. They had movies they were going up against in October, whatever. They had their own movies. Studios don't want to compete with themselves. Fine. I'm pretty sure this is Warner Brothers New Line Cinema, and Warner Brothers had One Battle After Another come out in late September, and maybe they knew that they were going to come out with such a great movie in One Battle After Another that was going to be in theaters for a month plus, that was going to win Best Picture, that they're like, screw it, we don't want anything to even mess with Best Picture. Not like this would even get anywhere close to awards, Mortal Kombat 2, but like you just don't want to mess with the box office potential of a Best Picture, because those Best Picture dramas don't always skyrocket at the box office. But I think this will go down as like a flop financially. I don't think it's a flop like as far as like what the fans are expecting. I read a lot of audience reviews that were saying this movie was better than the previous one, that they knocked it out of the park, that the fan service was great, that the tributes to the games were great, and that's all accurate. They're like the visuals that supported like the moves from the games and all that stuff, like nice. Like they did nice work with that, and that's part of where the great VFX came in, is like they did really cool shit visually to help enhance the characters based off of what you want to see. You want to see Scorpion do a get over here, like you want to see that, you got it. Mortal Kombat 2 comes out tonight, tomorrow, in theaters, I think everywhere in the US. I'm not an international release guru, so I'm not going to, like, hopefully you're listening to this in the US, and if you're not, my apologies. These are my favorite episodes to do, so thank you for riding with me once again. This has been another episode of The Unger Games, and we'll be back at you with more episodes soon.